Alright folks, so welcome back to Assassin's Creed Mirage Part 4 from Basim ibn Ishaq. Alright, so we are out here, we're trying to mingle with the crowd on the ground floor, we're trying to find the Rabisu just to make sure that we know his hideout or is a place where we can terminate or commit the assassination of that personnel because he's part of the order and we want him down. Right, before I do that and before we get through much things, I just wanna be tackling some of the comments down below from the fan base of Meta Critique. It's really a great website. We're not a sponsor, I just love and I'm a huge fan of metacritique.com. Right, so we got here MQ93 states, I'm particularly disappointed with this new Assassin's Creed game. I am waiting for a revival. The license has been stagnating for far too many years. First of all, the game is not up to the par in terms of the graphics. I played Alan Wake 2 before and I have to say it felt like I was playing on PS4 with Mirage. Tragic. The company does not evolve, we're bored, the narrative act is not very interesting and captivating. The story is poorly told. I do not recommend this game, you will definitely be disappointed. Right, so this was the state of MQ93. There's a lot of people that's stating that the Assassin's Creed Mirage on in particular on PS5 is not up to standards, and some people say it's actually the contrast that has been introduced on PS4, it's much better on that note. And MQ93 here is actually comparing Alan Wake 2 with Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is not a great comparison. Like, it's a very ordinary comparison. Ubisoft should have lived up and should have been up to the expectation. Right, oh my god, it's Danjo here. I have played every major Assassin's Creed HC title and unfortunately this is the first one I have put down and stopped playing. Graphics are fine for this gen, combat is okay but a little chunky. What made me lose interest is the story. I struggled playing through it. Honestly, it is the most boring of them all. I would play an hour at a time trying to progress, but I felt like more of a chore and there was no enjoyment in it for me. I like how they have tried to go back to the old style games, but there was no spark in this one for me. I think I got to around the 50% main story progression mark before I started thinking about a few other games that I would much rather be playing than this. I dislike giving negative reviews, especially when it comes to one of my favorite franchises, but Mirage is a massive step back in my opinion. Right, so I love how he actually laid out that one because he is actually stating some facts. The graphics are fine, they're not great, they can be better, but I do love them anyways, and the combat is okay, and I do love how he said okay because it actually transcends the fact that it's not great and it needs a little bit of more involvement and more interaction with the actual enemy just to give us a feeling that he's an actual assassin, he is a murderer, he's a person that is an expert at what he does. He is not choppy, he is not slow, he should have been brought more into the game. Okay, so the fact that they have done that on purpose, because Basim is an assassin, he's not a combat person, he does not go 1v5 or 1v10, but I really do want to feel an assassin that can actually do both. Like when we were actually playing Assassin's Creed Unity, you would see and come to the fact that in the medieval outfit, with the maximum health, you can actually bring on and actually eliminate from 10 to 15 at a time, which makes a lot of sense because he has a dagger and a sword. So the fact that he can actually parry with a dagger and then kill with the sword, so he has multiple altitude and multiple engagement that he can actually bring more combat level than what we saw here, because it's really disappointing. I totally agree with, oh my god, OMG, it's Danjo here. Right, moving forward, we got Mike's Gold 2K. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Sushi, alright, so I'm apologize. I cannot read this language. Right, we can go with Momod 1989. The fighting dynamics and the sequences is absolutely terrible. I wish I could get a refund. Right, ouch. Let's see here. We got Here for Kicks. Okay. It's a decent attempt at going back to the old formula with some of the RPG elements still present. It is, however, still sluggish, and with the controls, the parkour does not feel as fluid as it should be. Maybe some technical improvements could be patched, and the story and missions are about as basic as you can get. Not bad, but nothing you're going to remember for years. At this point, I'm not sure what else AC can do to freshen up the approach to missions. I brought this on sale, so I'm not hugely disappointed, but I could have found a better purchase. Right, so for Here for Kicks, if you ever come across this video and read my reply here, I would say that I have actually, on part 1, I've actually constructed a totally different controls in terms of the joystick, which is much better in terms of parkour. So I brought back the Assassin's Creed Unity's engagement, and I have actually brought back the controls of the same exact controls. I mimicked the same exact controls of Assassin's Creed Unity due to the parkour elements. I do believe if you do so, the game would be much better and you would feel much more involved in the actual practice of parkour.
This. I have seen this one before. Is this what you wanted to show me?
Yes. It reminded me of that object we found at the palace. What is it?
A drawing from an ancient book.
There is something you are not telling me.
You do not want to know what happens behind closed doors.
Why? Because you do not know either?
Because, as Derwish says, sometimes it is better not to know the truth behind the things we must do.
The truth, Basim, is that everything is here in front of you. But you refuse to look at it. This is about you. It has always been about you, ever since that night.
I took an oath, Nihal, to leave my old life behind and walk this path of shadows.
And maybe someday you will find the light. But until then, I will walk behind you every step of the way to remind you not to forget who you are.
Is that a threat?
I do not know.
Sounds like the lecture is about to begin. I should return to the Kahraman.
كان يصر على أن فتياته عثروا عليك للسياحة. على أي حال، لكن تلك العدسات قد قطعها إلى الظل.
وضع الشك محلا أفكار واضحة ويجب تطويرها. نعم يا سيدي، الكاد يفقه ما يقول. الغيرة تجرك إلى هذه. أنت
Pardon me. Is Fazil Fahim's lecture ready to begin?
Indeed it is. Head inside if you please. Welcome, one and all, to the House of Wisdom, center of learning in Baghdad, indeed, of the entire world. I am Fazil Fahim al-Kimsa, first scholar of the House of Wisdom, wisest of the wise. Today, I wish blasphemies. Do not fear, good people. Though I am old, my mind remains sharp as steel. Today I speak of mysteries, of creatures from the antediluvian age. Do not the ancient prophets tell us about giants from before the flood who forsook Allah and worshipped false idols? Is it not possible these giants built marvels, works of wondrous power, now lost to us?
Zahra and Hassan are both dead, slain by an assassin's blade.
They're dead.
Sayyidi, I urge you to hide until it's safe.
Apologies, people, but our lecture has concluded. Please, feel free to explore the House of Wisdom's many fine chambers.
You call yourself the great scholar, Fazil. You who burn books and hope the smoke will hide your crimes. How many did you sacrifice in your search for knowledge? How many did you use, damage, and discard in the name of discovery? Now you hide within the House of Wisdom. The house you led astray. But I will find you. And I will exact justice for every soul you savaged for your great work.
Right, so assassinate the Fazl, the great scholar, the leader of the order in Abyssinia, goes by the name of a Rabisu, an ancient astronomer word for demon. Now he stands revealed as of wisdom, from illicitity, acquiring valuable books, to conducting unholy experiments on the human subjects. He is a living example of the perversion of knowledge. The great Simsim has revealed him. Now it's time to strike. Look for intel to uncover El Rabisu's location. Right, so we need to find El Rabisu's location and we need to assassinate on that point. Right, so we're looking for ways, or look for where he went. Right, so we're trying to follow that man. We're seeing some clues. We're gonna be asking some questions to the glorious and gracious citizens on trying to tell us where he is at.
I remain profoundly unedified.
Did you see the powerful terror on the great scholar's head?
Look like sporting. Forget I mentioned it.
How exciting.
What do you think frightened
The
the
old
great
fool
scholar?
must have imagined one of his antediluvian creatures. He's an absolute disgrace.
But where did he run off to?
There's rumors of hidden passages beneath the House of Wisdom. Maybe he hid down there.
I have heard the rooftop gardener mention these places, yes.
What a colorful detail to include in my verse. The scholar by secret tunnels fled, chased by delusions of deities who want him dead.
Pardon me, but I heard a rumor about a hidden basement beneath the House of Wisdom.
A secret basement? You must be joking.
No, not at all. Surely, such a large building must have basements and cellars to store books and inks.
I'm aware of no such location on these premises.
Never mind. I will look around on my own.
As you wish.
Gatekeeper, let me pass.
Those who came before are...
What are you talking about?
Those who came before are...
Let me get back to you.
I've lost fossils. Those who came before are...
Alright, so as we were saying, alright, so we're gonna be continuing with some comments here. Right, so far, before going through more comments down below here, I do believe that the game has a lot of 70 to 50%, 70 to 40, 70 to 30% of successful rate, because the 30% people would be the people that actually really enjoy the RPG games, to my opinion, and they don't like the fact that the map is actually small, but they do love how Ubisoft did not left them wide open, and they actually gave them some of the RPG stuff that they love and adore. Right, so we got Salty Whaler here. Says this is a rough entry for the franchise, and the $50 price tag is a huge indicator of that. It's hard to like or dislike the game because it's just so meh. It's significantly smaller than the last 3 titles with a nicer If you don't like it, the 100-hour grind for the world completion. However, the game lacks the polish to justify the smaller size. Animations are incredibly clunky and look terrible. The climbing feels way too floaty. Think Unity, but worse. The combat and stealth is just as bland as the previous entries. Almost every aspect of the gameplay is the worst or worse than previous titles. The game definitely has a classic AC feel to it, but it feels half-baked. Last minute ask for the devs to make it feel nostalgic and drive sales. Overall, not entirely terrible or unenjoyable, but hard to justify even at $50. Right, so what I can say here, I do not agree with Salty Whaler here on his comment. I do agree that the game is a little bit clunky, and there's a lot of things that can be done to get better at it. But I do believe that the fact that the game is actually at that point is really great. What I mean by that is that they know and they recognize what the fan base want. They understand their fans. Other than developers such as Rockstar, they don't give us the thing that we are driving on, which is, come on, bring on some more games. We want to see more stuff moving forward. We don't want to wait for 10-year mark, and they are actually making that game less than 9 months. So props to them. You know, like the quality of the game won't be as great as Rockstar, because Rockstar takes about 10 years, but I don't see the graphical difference as much as I can. Like, if we mark each and every pixel, we would see that actually Ubisoft is doing a great job for like conducting a game 9 months ago, not like taking the time frame of a 9 months rather than more than that. So I do believe this is the point.
What do you mean you lost the great scholar's masterwork? I'm sorry. I was distracted by the presence of the famous poet Arib. Forget the poet. We better find Fazl's book, or we're both dead.
Sounds like part of a passphrase.
Right, so Lazy SSJ here stated, I do recommend this game, a solid entry to the AC franchise, pulling back on the RPG fantastical elements and shifting back to the stealth-focused game within a tighter city. The stealth is solid when an array of tools and methods to infiltrate areas and get your targets. The investigation of each target is also unique, enough to keep things fresh. The story is decent with a bit of a rushed ending. Parkour is fun, and the focused assassinations are surprisingly and more satisfying than I thought. All I would have preferred a chain assassination similar to Ghost of Hiroshima or the Arkham games. The movements can feel a bit finicky and clunky sometimes, and the influence of games like Valhalla with the movements are still prevalent. Would have liked it. You need to check your grammar, man. Would have liked it to be a bit quicker with a few more fluid animations like AC Unity, AC3, or Syndicate. Right. So the fact that he actually commented that you do recommend the game, yes, it is quite a game that actually has a lot of immersive atmosphere that I do believe that is really great, to the point that you can actually like enjoy the game at the same time. It's not boring However, it's not that exciting in terms of the game's story. There's a lot of twists. Yes, you will be surprised at the end. There's a huge ending where you won't even anticipate the ending. You won't even think of the ending, and you will definitely ask a lot of questions after you would view the ending. But other than that, the game is actually pretty solid. It's a game that has been established 9 months, or has been, maybe it's a 5-year project, but the way that they are releasing games now is absolutely massive. They're releasing game maybe each year or less than a year coming up on 2024, 2025. They're actually releasing a lot of games, so it is a lot of props to them. It really brings a lot of things to the atmosphere, and they're not taking their time. They're actually blasting off a lot of games. So that is how they're working really hard. They are working overtime to actually overcome and actually preserve such performance. So props to that, guys. Like when I compare like Ubisoft here, I'm comparing like Super Punch or Rockstar Games. They don't release games that soon, right? The game, of course, is gonna be awesome. The next gen opportunities such as Red Dead Redemption 2 is a really great game. Ghost of Hiroshima is a really great game, but the fact that they take a lot of time to just release one game, the amount of details that they put in, yes, it is quite fantastic, but the thing is that Ubisoft is releasing games on a yearly basis. So always put that in mind when you're reviewing games. Always put that in mind when you actually want to play the game and more forth. What I can say about this game honestly is that the game is really awesome, to the point that there's a lot of good props and there's a lot of good points, pros to the game. But the only thing that I don't like is the combat target system. I don't like it. I do believe that it should have been better, because sometimes you get in those situations where you have 2 to 3 enemies you need to kill instantly, and I don't believe that Basim is a type of guy that doesn't have any combat skills, right? Because he's an assassin, he can actually do have some combat skills. He can be fighting battles if he wants to. The fact that they need to use tools in order to eliminate 2 to 3 people alerted enemies, it is quite frustrating sometimes, and I don't believe that it is quite enjoyable at that point. And because I need to always be refilling my tools, I need to always be watching what are the things that I have used and what is not. I do believe that this thing in the upcoming future would be better if they would mitigate, and would be better that we would take into consideration that sometimes it's not quite nice to not have the combat type of skills in an assassin great as Basim is gonna be a master assassin by the end of his experiential career. So I do believe that it is something that has to be mitigated, improved, and really enhanced in the upcoming AC games.
This letter mentions a private reading balcony. Might be where the reader has taken the book. I better not use my weapons here.
Right, so we're gonna be done with some comments here down below. We're gonna move forward with that, right? So we got Midas 5-4. I really like that they went back to how the first Assassin's Creed games were. Right, I totally agree. They have really brought that in, and then they were trying to enhance and to see what we liked, and or the hardcore fans such as I, who was playing Assassin's Creed 1 when it was released, 2, 3, 4, and moving forward with that. I didn't like Black Flag. I did not like Black Flag. Honestly speaking, Black Flag was the worst Assassin's Creed game when it comes to even Assassin's Creed franchise. The thing that they have actually linked Black Flag with the Pirates of the Caribbean was the worst thing that it can ever be done in Assassin's Creed game. Right, so we got here as Separator here says, great surprise, it took me a while to feel at a raise and I mastered the gameplay, but in the end I felt like an assassin, intrinsically rewarding and gorgeous, can't wait for the next opposes, good job Ubisoft. Right, so I love the fact that he actually said I can't wait for the next games, or whatever he said. Alright, so well, of course, Assassin's Creed Red is really gonna be released in 2024. We have a lot of details that I'll be sharing in a separate video, where I'm gonna be like actually stating what are the upcoming things that Ubisoft is going to do, what are the main character. We have some information about the main character that is gonna be playing in the Assassin's Creed Red. I do love Assassin's Creed Red so far in terms of the information that we have. I'm loving the game. I'm loving how they are actually introducing the game and how they are actually introducing the character. The character is such a marvelous human being. He is actually a fighter samurai, and he is actually out of this world. I really do love the character so much. There is so history because he is the historian of the actually same character.
Gatekeeper, those who came before are those who shall return. Correct! You may proceed.
Right, so as I was saying here, is that yes, so the character is really great. The upcoming character, Assassin's Creed Red, I've heard that it is an RPG game, which is a real word game with a big landscape of map interface. It's not gonna be like Mirage. I'm hoping that they don't take the stealth kind of games away, and I do hope that they would do a certain mix, so they mix between the stealth missions and mix between battle missions. Because when you matchmake these two together in terms of scenery, if you're actually fighting alongside your brotherhood, and at the same time if you're fighting alone, infiltrating places, mixing between the two is so good, and it's actually gonna bring the game, and it's gonna highlight two of the fan base, right? So we got two different fan base here in Assassin's Creed Unity community. We have people that actually love the stealth, only stealth, right? And they don't want any like battles or combat situations where they have to fight like 100 or 150, like 150 against like 100 v 100. They don't like that. And we got fans that they really get bored from stealth, kind of infiltrating missions, infiltrating buildings and stuff like that, even rescue people in prison and stuff like that. They don't like that. They want the immersive battleground where they can actually fight alongside their teammates, fighting a lot of NPCs and actually making a lot of movements on that note. So I do believe mixing between both, it is the next big thing, and the fact that they are actually gonna be featuring Assassin's Creed Red in Japan, Tokyo, Japan, back in the age of the samurai, it is absolutely excellent because there's a lot of things that they can do with it. They can actually do some stealth missions, at the same time they can actually fight for the kingdom and fight for the king and actually save their people, and through the like immersive villages they can raid villages, and they can actually do like come up with a team that can actually build up some units in order to infiltrate villages and help rescue and have that team, or even infiltrate castles and defend through an army right against another army.
Hold on.
Nobody's putting me in that thing. Not ever.
Don't worry. We've got plenty of volunteers.
You can pull my teeth out with hot irons before you get me in there.
There is a deep wrongness here. A reek of rotten iron. Those robes might help me get closer to Fazil. What have they done to these people? Poor guy will not need this anymore. This should help me blend in.
Please, take me back there. I don't belong here.
Where is my robe? The scholar would have my special robe.
Well, it doesn't look right. Someone take me back to the bright, shiny place.
Next subject! In here, now!
There are horrors here. But the most terrifying thing is that I have seen it all before. Somehow.
Who dares meddle with my great work? Killing my allies and spoiling my lecture. It's an outrage.
It looks like the handiwork of a trained assassin.
Must be some faction in the Round City. Or one of those jealous broods in Sharqiyya.
These killings were too subtle for mercenaries.
No matter. Once I understand how the mechanism works, I will prove myself to Al-Bahamud.
In here, Lackwit.
You are new, aren't you? I don't recognize you. They promised you gold when you volunteered, yes? No matter. What you are about to behold surpasses all worldly riches. Don't be afraid. Are you afraid? This is my great work. I call it Arua. It will take you on a journey to another realm. Why did the first ones leave this world behind, filled with fools, I wonder, and make so few of me? We called this the House of Wisdom, but its foundations are unsound. For beneath the House of Wisdom lies the Dungeon of Ignorance, and upon such dark secrets we build our philosophies. Science is the noblest purpose. Knowledge is the greatest power.
No.
No? Then what?
Justice.
This may be the place. It may be here where lies absolute knowledge. It is not how I remember it. Behind the doors, it looked brighter.
But in the end, all we see is darkness. I need to get out of here. Get back to the inn. The scholar's notes. He believes in these ancient beings. The masters of memory. No question about it. Fazil was neck deep in the Order.
لقد تردد على الحانة مجددا.
My end comes too soon. I am not ready.
Go away.
I know that place.
Basim ibn Ishaq.
How did you find this place?
Easy. I just followed the trails of blood.
You should not be here.
Do you talk to him?
Sometimes. Yes.
But he does not answer. I do. We have drifted apart since that day. But what we have seen back at the palace, this light, these sounds, you cannot have possibly forgotten.
Unlike you, Nihal, I keep the past in the past.
You call yesterday the past? And this jinni of yours, this repulsive shadow that crushes your chest, has it crawled back into the past too?
No. It is still here. Sometimes, even in the day, I feel its breath on my neck. The nightmare invades the real world, or has always been part of it.
This is part of your reality, Basim. I am a part of your reality too. I am your past. Tell me, will you leave me there? In the dark corners of your memory?
I will not.
Now, if you could invent a mechanical rug sweeper, Basim.
It is done.
And how did it all play out?
I'm afraid this is a tale for another day. We will save it for one of our campfires.
You have done well, my friend.
Better get back to my work. You know how easily I get bored. Thank you for what you did, Basim.
It is the truth. You have done well. One last thing. Arib, was she involved?
Not that I know. But we must remain vigilant.
Right, and there you have it, folks. That was the end of Assassin's Creed Mirage Part 4. We did manage to assassinate one of the Order, the masked people, one of the members of the Order, who is El Rabisu. And as always, guys, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, press on the like button, subscribe to be seeing more, and always comment down below who is your favorite Assassin's Creed character and what is your favorite Assassin's Creed game so far, and why do you think that this game is really awesome, and why do you think this game is sucks or even bad at that point. As always, guys, thank you, take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to press on that notification button. Bye bye.